Hello everyone, welcome back to Maheen Math Tutorials. Now this is Trigonometry Part 4, and this time the question states, if the angle is formed in a counterclockwise direction from the start point in an xy plane, and it is positive, positive, or none of these. Now first let me go over what clockwise and counterclockwise is. So whenever you're looking at a regular clock, clockwise is when you start at 12 and you go right all the way around back to the 12. Counterclockwise is when you start the 12 and you go left all the way back to the 12. Now, why is this important to note? So, for example, whenever you're looking at a regular coordinate system, one that has both an x-axis and a y-axis, there will always be two different sides, and one side will always be positive, and the other side will always be negative. So, for example, if you start at the 0 and you go to the right, it'll be positive 1, positive 2, positive 3. As well as if you start at the 0 and go up, it'll be positive 1, positive 2, positive 3. However, if you go down or to the left, it will always be negative. And it does matter like which quadrant it is, because it has 4 quadrants. Whichever quadrant on the side you're on, whether it be on the right side or on the left side, it will always be positive or negative. So for example, if you put a point here and a point here, the points, the coordinates will always be positive numbers, but if you put a point here and a point here, this one will be negative, but this one will be positive and negative. Now, let's say, for example, when it comes to the coordinate system, or rather this particular x and y table, let's pretend there's a square here. Well, there's a square here, but let's make sure that we're paying very close attention to it. There's also a square here, and a square here as well. Now, if you remember from part 1 and part 2 of trigonometry, any angle that has a square to it is always going to be a 90-degree angle. And if I want to rotate either clockwise or counterclockwise, then I have to find a point and put it right here. And then I'm going to have to rotate either clockwise or counterclockwise, depending on what the question asks. Now, the question doesn't really know how much to rotate, either clockwise or counterclockwise. It just says to rotate clockwise. Well, I'm sorry, counterclockwise. So what's important is that if I have a point here on positive 3 on the x-axis, and if I were to rotate it counterclockwise 90 degrees, it would be right here, which would be the 3 on the y-axis. And as you can see here, it's a positive 3 here and a positive 3 here. So if an angle was formed from a counterclockwise position when it came to the x and y-axis, it would be right here. And if you only rotate it once, because you can only rotate it about a total of about 4 times round and round. So let's go back to the original question. Going back to the original question, if the angle is formed in a counterclockwise direction from the start point in an x and y plane, then it is going to be positive.